Hello and welcome to The Signal, Workplace NL's health and safety podcast. Workplace NL is the Workers' Compensation Board in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. The focus is to promote safe and healthy workplaces, provide return-to-work programs, and offer compensation to injured workers and their dependents. This series of podcasts will provide you with the latest information on how workplaces can protect the health and safety of workers. Please enjoy the show. I'm your host, Colin Feuer, Occupational Health and Safety Consultant with Workplace NL, and today we're going to talk about taking care of your mental health at work with Deanne Feltham-Scott, Occupational Health and Safety Educational Consultant with Workplace NL. This is an important week at Workplace NL. We've been offering webinars and special events specific to psychological health and safety as part of our virtual learning series. Welcome to The Signal, Deanne.
Thank you, Colin. I'm happy to be here today to talk about what we can all do to protect our psychological or our mental health in the workplace. We all have an important role to play in supporting the mental health of everyone in our workplaces.
Thanks, Deanne. To begin, can you tell me how you define mental health?
Well, generally speaking, mental health has been defined by the World Health Organization as a state of well-being where individuals, they understand their own abilities, they're able to cope with the normal stresses of life, they can work productively as well as successfully, and they're able to make that meaningful contribution to their community, their workplaces, as well as their families. The definition of mental health doesn't necessarily refer to happiness or how happy somebody is, but it really focuses on the person's ability to deal with the stresses that they face in their daily life and to be able to engage effectively in the activities of their lives, as well as the relationships they have socially.
Deanne, mental health seems to be a topic that is gaining a lot of interest in workplace health and safety. Why do you think that is?
Well, poor mental health, it not only affects the person, but it also affects their families, their communities, as well as the workplace. In the last number of years, there's been some eye-opening statistics about the number of people that are living with mental health problems and illnesses all across Canada. Every year, 1 in 5 Canadians experience a mental health condition. 500,000 of us are not able to report to work in any given week because of mental health. 1 in 2 of us have experienced a mental health condition before we've reached the age of 40. And 70% of Canadians report that the primary reason why they miss work is due to their mental health. Mental health conditions amount to approximately $51 billion a year of lost productivity in workplaces.
Very interesting. It sounds like there are many Canadians and workplaces who are impacted by mental health issues and conditions. Why should we be concerned about mental health in the workplace?
So all workplaces in our province have psychological hazards. It doesn't matter the industry, the number of workers, the type of work being done. They all have these types of hazards. We can see when a guard is missing from a piece of equipment, there is a spill on the floor, or when there's poor housekeeping. But a psychological hazard, it's more difficult to find and to eliminate. And then if we can't eliminate it, to at least reduce the risk of psychological harm to workers.
So what is a psychological hazard?
A psychological hazard, it's found in the work itself, the work environment, and the relationships in the workplace that can all affect our mental health. It's really about how the job is designed and how the work is organized and managed, and how all of these together can make a negative impact on our mental or psychological health.
And what are some examples of psychological hazards that may be in our workplaces?
Common psychological hazards include exposure to harassment, violence, or traumatic events. However, long-term exposure to less severe psychological hazards, such as inadequate support from management, lack of resources, lack of time, increasing job demands, poor workplace relationships, even lack of recognition or reward. These activities over time can also impact our psychological health and may cause stress in the workplace.
When we talk about occupational health and safety, we often hear about the responsibilities of the employer, managers, supervisors, and workers. Who is responsible for mental health in the workplace?
We all have a responsibility to mental health. However, it's the employers who are ultimately responsible to find the psychological hazards that are specific to their workplace and to first eliminate them, or to find ways to reduce the psychological harm to workers when elimination is not possible. Managers and supervisors, they're responsible to tell workers or to notify workers of these hazards. And they also have that responsibility to make sure that workers are instructed and trained in the workplace practices that the employer has put in place to help deal with these psychological hazards. And finally, as workers, we have that responsibility to participate in any training and instruction that the employer has made available to us and to follow those workplace practices that they've put in place. We also need to report any additional hazards to our employer and our supervisor that was not initially found through risk assessment activities.
So, Deanne, what can employers do to support workers' mental health?
There is a national CSA standard. It's Z 1000-13, and it's called Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace. This guideline or standard, it's a first of its kind in the world. No other country has developed a standard as such. This standard, it provides a user-friendly framework that really focuses on successful workplace practices and processes. It really looks at the 13 psychosocial factors in the workplace that can affect the way that workers do the work. It can affect the work environment and how the work environment is organized and managed by the employers as well as the workers. Simply put, when these factors are present, mental health is supported, and when they are not, our mental health at work is certainly challenged. This standard, it's tailored to meet the needs of all workplaces, and it's meant to be developed in small, manageable steps, and not as a large, onerous undertaking that might be difficult to carry out. So generally speaking, though, there are some activities that employers can start with right now to get the ball rolling that encourages positive mental health of everyone in the workplace, as well as helping to reduce workplace stress. So one of the first things that employers can do is that they can clearly define everyone's responsibility in taking care of their health at work. Talk openly about mental health and really work together with everyone in the workplace to help destigmatize mental health. Encourage active employee participation and help them to make the appropriate decisions about their work. Promote work-life balance. Encourage respectful behaviors as well as interactions between everyone in the workplace. And as employers in the province right now, they are responsible to have a harassment prevention plan. No matter how big, how small, every employer in the province must have this plan. Their responsibility in this plan is, well, one of the responsibilities, I should say, in this plan is to educate workers about what harassment is, as well as to train everyone in their plan specific to their workplace. They can also start working with employees to help manage workloads. Allow for and encourage continuous learning and growth and development, personal and professional development. Conflict resolution practices are very important as well as developing processes for effective communication. And one of the big things that we can all do as an employer is to recognize and reward employees' contributions to the business and to the organization.
Now, you've explained the employer's role, but what can workers do to support their own mental health?
So in addition to following the workplace practices that employers have put in place, there's many activities that we can all do on a daily basis to take care of our own mental health, to help us build our personal resiliency, and just overall help us to manage our stress levels on a daily basis. So the first thing that you should strive to do is to get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night and to establish good sleep hygiene. Follow Canada's food guide for healthy nutrition and make sure that you're hydrating primarily with water. Make movement a part of your day by incorporating micro breaks throughout your day. Take your breaks away from your work. Incorporate short walks into your day as well. And just general socializing with coworkers in being away from your desk and up and moving around. Find meaningful activities that make you happy as well as bring you joy and participate them on a regular or a daily basis. These could include self-care activities such as going for a walk, a run, going to the movie, knitting, sewing, fishing, whatever it is that makes you happy and takes you out of your head, I guess, for a little bit of your day. Think positive and replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And meditation and deep breathing, these are also great activities that we can do daily to help our bodies relax and to stay calm. We don't need to be participating in a half hour or an hour-long deep breathing practice. Even 1 minute a day can help your body relax and to stay calm. And the last thing that you should do is to build that support system with high-quality relationships that support you in ways that you need to be supported.
Well, I learned a lot today. Thanks so much for joining me, Deanne.
You're very welcome, Colin. It was my pleasure.
I think the overall message to take away from today's podcast is that poor mental health can have negative effects on workers, communities, and workplaces. As employers, there are many things that you can do to create a workplace that is psychologically healthy and safe for workers. And as workers who share the responsibility in workplace health and safety, there are also activities that you can do to support employers in creating that productive, efficient, and stress-reduced workplace. Thank you for joining us today. Transcripts are available to use in your workplace to increase workers' knowledge in various occupational health and safety topics. Visit workplacenl.ca for more information on the services we provide to workplaces. Feel free to share the signal on social media to improve workplace health and safety everywhere. Thank you, and have a safe and healthy day.